Hey, welcome back to the channel. Brandon with Davidson Audio, and today we are going to be redoing one of our videos that we did in the past, and that is the Indian Challenger and Pursuit from 2020 to current fairing shrouds that we make here at Davidson Audio for these bikes. In this video, we're going to start by obviously disassembling this Challenger. So as you can see, we've already taken the fairing off the Challenger, which if you want to know how to do that, you can watch one of our previous videos that we'll link in this video on how to completely disassemble this bike. We've already done the video on that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to further disassemble this bike to include the windshield frame, this upper inner fairing bracket, and we're going to take the fairing tray off as well. And then to include the windshield motor and the OEM power unit here, which if you're installing one of our audio packages, this is something that we highly recommend, and we send in all of our audio packages. Or if you're wanting to install your own aftermarket audio, then you're going to still want one of these anyways. Let's go ahead and get started disassembling this bike. So we're going to start at the windshield and the windshield frame. And to take this off, you're going to remove the 5 4mm windshield nuts that hold the windshield to the frame. Now there is a slotted T-nut in the back, so you're gonna want to make sure you put your hand behind it to catch them so they don't fall and get lost. And then right back here, in here, there's a 5mm Allen that you're gonna have to remove. And then this 5mm and 10mm. I'll remove all of this, which will allow access here. So let's go ahead and get this removed, and then we will move on to the upper inner fairing. To remove this gauge cluster bezel cover, I guess you can call it. So right here in the middle, I like to just take it, and you're going to use like the palm of your hand, and you're just going to pop it up and hold the back side right here, and it pops right up off. There's these two tabs that go into here, and then this push tab and this push tab correlate to this slit here and here that'll pop it in. So like here, it just fits in the front, and then you push it down. So that's where you can pop it up and pull it off. And now that we're at this part, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Torx bits that we need to remove. This is a T40, or you can use a 6mm to take these off. So we're gonna use a T40 and remove these. And we've already finger loosened all of these for the video. Obviously, use a ratchet or an electric ratchet or impact to take them off. I never use an electric impact or ratchet to put these on, because with plastic, if you over torque them, then obviously you break them off. So let's get all these removed, and then we'll pop this off. We have all of these off, what we're going to do is we're going to pop it off. So I like to grab here in the middle, like right on the outer parts of these arms, because there's 2 tabs there. Yeah, let's do one side at a time. And just like that, pops off. So it is a little hard at times. And if you heard that little noise, it's these little white retaining clips right here that go on here and here. Sometimes they'll stay with the part, and then they'll fall down in here, so you'll have to go fishing them out. So we are going to modify this before we put it back on, but we'll show you that in the video a little bit later. So let's set this aside and continue disassembling. The next thing I like to take off is the windshield motor itself right here. So this will be 3 4mm, so 1, 2, and 3, plus the electrical connector right here that you're going to take off and unplug, and then this can get fished right on in here. And then we will take our 4mm and remove these 3 bolts. The whole motor comes out with the water that's in the line. So at this point, with this removed and unbolted, we can now set it aside so we can continue to take the rest of this apart to get our fairing shroud on here. We will be doing another follow-up video on how to replace this, but that will be for another video. We are going to now address one other thing before we get this installed, and that's this wiring harness bundle here that goes up to the gauge cluster and down to the main harness. There's 2 zip ties onto a zip tie mount right here. We need to cut these off and relocate it to the other side of this pin and over the fairing shroud, because this will be in the way for our amplifier later. So let's go ahead and snip these 2. That way we can relocate it and then get the fairing shroud on. You can see now we have plenty of room to take this and bring it over to the inside here. What I do like to do is throw a couple of small zip ties on this little harness that runs under here. I think that's for the USB. I think this is the antenna. So let's take a couple of these baby zip ties and zip tie them together so they stay together. All right, now that we have everything disassembled up here, we have the upper inner fairing, we have the windshield motor taken off, we have disconnected this harness here. What we're going to want to do now is remove the fairing tray and the modules attached to it, and we're also just going to take the factory power unit out just so it's out of our way to make it easier. All right, from left to right, we're going to explain what these are. This right here is going to be the antenna for, which should be for, yeah, the GPS, which I guess the bikes come with these from the factory, but if you have a base model and you want to upgrade to the navigation GPS, it would be another module that goes over here, and then you would take antenna wire that's plugged underneath there, which is a royal pain in the butt, and you'd plug it into that new module, and then there would be another harness here that would also plug into it, and that's what would send the signal through the bike, and you would have Indian use the digital wrench to make sure your bike knows that it's there. So that's what this and what would go here. Now, if you have a module right here, a VCM, this is for the driving light, the Indian Pathfinder lights. So that would be right here, and then the 20 pin for that is this one right here. You would take this, it would plug in right there, and now you put the fog light button in the dash, you'd have Indian use their digital wrench again and flash it, and then you would have that. Right here, underneath here, is what we call the power unit, or as a lot of people refer to as a amplifier or a DSP. The speakers, we get into a whole long thing about that, and we will later, but short story is the speakers are self-amplified. This is more of a power unit and DSP. Takes a signal from the ride command, goes into here, sends a signal there, plus voltage, and gives you audio signal out. From there, you could possibly have another module here. This one here will do the fairing and tour pack speakers. This one will be saddlebag lids and the factory lowers. So you could possibly have 2 of them in here depending on your speaker layout on your bike. And then up here is the VCM for your windshield motor. That's what controls the windshield motor to go up and down. With that being said, I mean, we've explained all of this. So let's go ahead and get these removed. We're going to pull the harnesses off and get this whole tray removed, which is just 2 Torx 40s on each side, a bunch of push clips. This is double-sided taped on, so we just pop it off, route the antenna wire from here across through here and out, and set that aside. These harnesses just plug in under here, push connectors here, Torx, this is a T20, remove that, leave it on here so that we can control the motor when it's back on. Push tab, another harness underneath here, which this is the one for your saddlebag audio. And then just loosen these up and get it out of the way. So let's get after it. tray removed, all the modules and harnesses off of it. You can just let most of this stuff dangle. We're gonna take a 10mm here and remove the factory power unit out of our way, and then we're gonna start getting this fairing shroud put on. All right, now it is time to finally install the fairing shroud. And no, it doesn't just sit on there like that. So now that we have everything removed, let's go ahead, snake this through the fairing harness, get it laid down, and get it secured. Because as you can see, we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 points of contact that are gonna hold this down. So that's why we had to take everything off, because we wanted to make sure that our nice laser cut fairing shroud would find all the holes and get secured. So let's get routing this in here and get the stuff reinstalled back on it. All right, now that we have it just generally laid across here, you can kind of see what we had to snake it under. One big thing is underneath this wiring harness, and then our slit goes around this big wiring bundle here. And you just want to kind of like lay it where it's going to lay for the most part, which is right about there, all the way across here and here. And then the biggest part is going to be these 5 holes right here, which are for the window motor and the 2 supports for the upper inner fairing. So I like to start all of this with the windshield motor first. So we're going to start there and work our way backwards. So now that we have the fairing shroud routed underneath this harness, our slit is around this big bulky harness here that's right down here in the stem. It is time to start aligning all of this. The process of lining all this starts here with these 5 first holes, because you have, do you remember when we take it off, I explained these 3 holes hold the motor down, and these 2 are the part where the upper inner fairing tray bolts into these 2. So which is where this harness is gonna have to move over. But first, what I like to do is I start with the windshield motor. I put it here, and then I loosely put the 3-4mm back in there. That way, that allows us to line up these 5 holes, and when you crank this down, it'll hold the whole thing down. So let's go ahead and get this windshield motor secured in and get the rest of this put back together. Tighten down these 3-4mm right here, and as you saw me pulling on the material here and here, and that's just to help align these 2 holes up with these threaded holes, because these 2 holes are the ones where the upper inner fairing, water trough, whatever you want to call it, there's 2 studs that come down and bolt right here, so you really want to make sure that these are freed up so that way you're not interfering with that. Then from there, you're going to want to make sure that the rest of your parts are going to line up. There is a push down right here, the fairing tray mounting stud here, and then there's an index hole and a mounting stud up here that we're all going to utilize with this fairing shroud. So at this point, you just got to kind of route the wiring accordingly so that way you're not interfering with any of that. So like this goes here, and then this is going to go up here. There's a little bit of slack in this for the arms, so you don't have to worry about that. So at this point, we can go ahead and get the inner upper fairing tray modified and reinstalled on here. That way we're good to go with getting the rest of this installed. Now off camera, this is where I was talking about we modified. We cut these 2 tabs off. There's 2 on each side. We just cut them flat and everything. Like I said, this is just for more clearancing in here. This isn't really going to affect much in structural integrity. So now it's time to get this reinstalled. And now, if you're doing this for our aftermarket audio packages, that's where this harness right here needs to be moved to the inside of this stud right here. But first, let's not forget to plug our windshield motor back in and put it around this stud. Now, this is where you've got to start wrestling it, and it's a little time consuming because you need to line up all of our little slit openings to get this to line up. So I like to work from one side and then kind of go over the other, make sure the harness is all pushed, or the fairing shroud's pushed where it needs to be, and then you'll snap this down and start screwing everything in. What you saw me doing there is just going back through everything, making sure that we grabbed all of our contact points up here where this mounting hole goes. Then right here you have where the push tab will go back into the plastic. This bolt hole right here is where the fairing tray bolts back to, so you want to make sure that's freed up. Check down in these two holes to make sure your threads are good and safe. And same thing when you work your way over here, make sure there's clearance here. This bolt hole here lines up, and then right here, which I got a little ahead of myself, this is why you check. This side got caught up, so just push it up just a little bit, there we go. And just like that, it's all lined up. You want to make sure you check all these bolt holes, because if you start tightening from this side down, you get all the way to here, and you've tightened everything down, and this hole is like I did. It was pushed forward a little bit, and it shoved it into the other hole. And you're going to have to loosen everything back up. So now this is the point where you're going to want to put all these screws back in. You can tighten them on up, and then we'll get a zip tie on this. This point, it's time to address this wiring harness. We're going to route a zip tie around this plastic piece in the harness. So I'm going to grab two long zip ties. I like to go from the top to the bottom of it and tie it up back here, and then from the top to the bottom of this and really tighten them up and push the zip ties here. Get it really nice and tight so it'll suck this harness here. And that looks like it's really tight, but I promise you it's just enough room to clear it. My bike's been done like this for years. Bill's bike and pretty much any customer I have, theirs has been done like this. So let's go get those zip ties and get that done. All right, so one zip tie is gonna be more than enough. I forgot how tight it is up here. All right, so we're going to track this up and down, making sure that we have clearance, which we have plenty of clearance. I mean, there's a whole another couple of zip tie clearance right there, that harness. So we're good to go there. So let's bring it all the way up. And we can now go ahead and get the rest of the windshield put on. We'll go ahead and throw this hood on real quick, get the windshield frame screwed on, get the windshield on of it, get everything a test, and that'll be a wrap. Just quick recap, 5mm, 10mm, 5mm, and then you can just snug this up. Don't go super, super tight with it, because you can crack these cast pieces. I've done it, it sucks, but it happens. So again, 5mm, 10mm, 5mm, 5mm. customers, Clockworks windshield here. You've got 5 bolts, 2, 1, and 2, so for 5. And that will be a 4mm Allen that goes back on there with the slotted T-nut. It's got a rectangle, the thread in the middle that will lock into the back of the windshield motor frame right back here like that. And then you will thread the windshield in there. Like I said, don't need to go super crazy muscular tight in there. Just, you know, give them a nice good snug and just a little bit more and you'll be good to go. So let's get this installed. Now the last part to this is getting the fairing tray put back on the bike. I'm going to loosely put this on here with some of the modules and their locations. I'm not going to do the full backwards reinstallation of this because we're going to be taking it back off to do the audio install on this. So very simple, 2 T40 Torx screws here and here. Make sure you line up the fairing shroud here and here, and then you'll see roughly where we route the harness, and then you can check out our disassembly video or the beginning of this video on where everything goes to make sure yours is put back where it needs to go. Well, it's a wrap. That's how you install our Davidson Audio waterproof fairing shroud cover. Now, a lot of you might be asking, well, you've already shot this video. Yes, we did a long time ago. That was beginning of last year, I think. And a lot of the feedback that we got on that video was, one, it was way too dark, bad camera angles, and a lot of y'all thought it could have been improved. So we decided to take the time, now that we have this very nice lighting. We're in our shop now, which is still under construction, so apologies for the mess in the background. But we wanted to take the opportunity while we had this customer's bike in here for an audio package install to show you how to install our fairing shroud cover. Now again, when would you use this? You would purchase this and use this fairing shroud cover from us if you're planning on installing aftermarket audio equipment, because what happens is with Indian electric adjustable windshield, there's now openings here, here, and in the middle because of the 2 windshield arms on each side and the worm gear in the middle. Where Indian puts their OEM power units are on the clutch side, brake side, and the clutch side up here, which is where we at Davidson Audio put our aftermarket amplifiers. So that creates a big problem. Water and electronics don't mix very well. So what we wanted to do was develop a product that would allow our amplifiers and equipment to be covered, so that way when you get rain down here, it'll hit this water repellent material and shed the water down the front. We've had very good success with this. Our typical audio packages will be 1 amplifier here on the clutch side, the DSP on the brake side, and then we take some further precautions, which you've seen in our fairing audio package kit, where we talk about that, to protect the equipment here, and we've had very good luck with this. So that's why we developed this product. That's why we're very proud of this product, that we have it made here in the US. We have a small business laser cut all of these for us, so they're all precision. They all come out the exact same. No more, back in the day I used to cut them by hand, no more of that. Precision cut on every single one of them. So if you are either planning on getting an audio package from us here at Davidson Audio, then this will be included in the package. Or if you're thinking about doing your own audio system, then please reach out to us. You can purchase this separately to help protect your equipment. And again, if you have any questions, just please let us know. We are more than happy to help, whether it's with our own audio package or if you want to design your complete own audio package, we're here to help any way we can. So I want to take another moment to let you all remind you and let you know about our 1,500 subscriber giveaway. Again, this subscriber giveaway will be a team up between myself, Mad Monkey Motorsports, and Hooney's Garage for a free ECU tune to 1 lucky subscriber. Again, This isn't Indian specific. They do Indian platforms and they also do Harleys. So again, if you are here supporting myself, my business in this channel, we want to help support, give you back for supporting us. So that's one small way that we can do that. Again, make sure that you are subscribed to our YouTube channel, that you like the videos, and please also drop a comment on these videos, whether it's things you like or don't like about the videos, or future videos that you would all like to see on the channel. Make sure you hit that bell so you're notified, and please share the channel, help it grow, because Indian is lacking in companies that are going above and beyond to help the Indian community. So that's why we wanted to pair up with just a couple of the companies that do that to help support you all for the Indian motorcycle community as a whole. So that being said, I'm Brandon with Davidson Audio, and I'm out.